Okay, so electrical, biggest hassle. I recommend it to people who are asking questions about installing this motor. Take out the old motor. You're gonna have to anyway. Sit it right next to the new motor, especially if you're visually challenged, and compare all the fittings. For the fuel injector, you may need adapters from the EV1 to the EV6. They're 20 bucks a set. I bought a set that I didn't even use just for peace of mind. The coils, for the most part, you can use the same coils as long as the boots are the same length. Spark plug wise, you'll uh, definitely want to put some new spark plugs in with even though they've upgraded the spark plugs and all that, I'd recommend a healthy dosage of the anti-seize. um, it's a pain tightening the intake bolts because some of them are back down there inside of the openings on the intake. You'll need the quarter-inch drive swivel sockets for this job. Of course, fortunately, my engine came with a lot of the wiring. I think I bought this fuel pump regulator adapter. It had a couple, like one or two additional wires as compared to the one that was on here. So I swapped this end, no issue. Uses the same idle air control wiring. As you can see, I ordered one of these off of Amazon for the throttle position sensor. Camshaft position sensor on that side is not being used. In order to use the one on this side, first the motor will run without it, but I think you'll have all kinds of issues. The cog, or the trigger wheel on this particular cam, has 5 lobes as compared to a single lobe on the factory. What you're going to end up having to do is cut. People say you don't have to cut it, but I wasn't able to make it work using a lab scope. And using a lab scope, I had to compare a known good sweep of where the signal hits with the cam sensor as compared to the crank sensor. The crank sensor is super difficult to get to, so you'll have to make extension wires if you want to figure that out. I guess eventually, if people are interested, I'll get a photo off my lab scope and upload it and show you what the signal is supposed to look like, and maybe even extrapolate what the timing is supposed to be for it to work right. There's been 1 or 2 forums that offer that information as well. Electrical, let's go over it. Okay, injectors. If you want this in and running as quickly as possible with as little drama as possible, you're going to have to make one of these. This is an adapter plate to use the existing throttle body. So, the reason that's necessary is if you're just getting into automotive tuning. Well, my first automotive tuning tool was a dwell meter and a timing light, so I can't say it's my first shot at tuning, but modern tuning, ECU tuning. This adapter here was a pain in the ass to make. Disregard this hose here. This is where I tried to adapt a separate map sensor to use off of the EGR wiring over there, which didn't work very well. I probably could make it work if I want to, but never mind. And so, of course, this is the original throttle body that just bolted on right there. It wasn't as hard to get on as you might imagine. But if you get this thing in your truck, you get everything connected, and you want to get it started and driving around, you can literally put this plate on there. Shoot, if you want, you could probably make it out of wood. I mean, or plastic or something. It doesn't have to be super dramatic and all kind of bullshit to get it running. Get that bolted on, and it'll run with your original injectors. No tuning or anything required. I actually drove it like that for, shoot, I don't know, a good month while I was working on other things, with no noticeable damage. I mean, it knows how to mix fuel. Problem is, this vehicle can take in so much more air. I wasn't able to try to do wheel stands before I got some tuning done on it. Yeah. What else is there electrical? You'll notice I have this relay box here. This is solely for the purpose of installing some electrical components, my power inverter and an electric fan. And I'm not a fan of the idea of just having relays screwed all over the interior of your engine bay. You know, it makes it look amateurish to me. So I kind of been working on that. While you're in here, you will need to go ahead and put in an electric fan, because if you plan on putting a giant turbo on it, you'll notice that there's virtually no room between that fan shroud and the front of the motor. Also, you know, that giant fan is robbing plenty of power. You can buy the radiator hose thermostat switch, which I actually machined this one, but it's not deep enough. So every time I've screwed in a couple of these $20 or $15 sensors and bottomed them out and messed it up, you could probably just order this part, then you have to order another sensor. It gets real expensive, so I'll let you deal with that. Plenty of videos on it. Electrical cam sensor plugs in, the oil signal fine. These little RF frequency filters, I think the one on a 3 valve, it might have a different socket. I mean, you can transplant those, adapt them however, as long as you got some wire in there kind of to where that signal can ground out, you should be good to go. PCM wise, I had an issue where I was tuning my computer, and a friend of mine who stayed overnight thought I was leaving without saying bye and came and snatched my damn door open, turned on all the interior lights, and fried my PCM. This is off another junkyard PCM. You just need to put it in, do the patch delete, and then you know, translate your tune on over to it if you need to. I've noticed here in Houston, there's some scumbags going around the junkyards taking all the Ford PCMs, so you might have a hassle getting what you need in that respect. All the other wiring, as far as I can tell, mounts up properly. Oh, the alternator wiring, you may have to swap the actual giant conductor end. For some reason, I think my original one was too small or something like that, so I ended up either drilling it out or putting a new one on there. Coils work just fine. I think I mentioned that already. I ended up losing one of my injector harnesses back there, and reason being, on the original motor, I think you have like 2 or 3 more inches. It took me damn near a day to find that injector harness. You can laugh if you want to, but I'm trying to save you the time. I would urge you to go ahead and spend you $40 or $50 on proper wiring looms and things like that, like these little gadgets here. You can buy a whole giant box of them for 10 bucks. Or you can zip tie your shit and have it all ghetto and broke all the time. But for the money, there's no better peace of mind than having all your wiring situated on here legit. You know what I mean? So that's it for electrical. Let me end this one and see if I can come back with a final one with maybe some valuable info.